This is why you should never mess with the autistic kid at school. In 2012, a kid named Jeremy was diagnosed with mid-tier autism. To make matters worse, he was also a Call of Duty addict. At school, he would act out cutscenes from various Call of Duties. Because of this, people saw him as the weird kid and he got bullied. Things got really bad until he couldn't handle it anymore. One day, he arrived at school with a gun and shot all the people who were bullying him. What's really creepy is that when he was sentenced in court, he asked how much kills he got.
Creepy Facts, Part 67. If you get bitten by another human, you absolutely have to go to the hospital as soon as possible, preferably right away. This is because the amount of bacteria that is in a person's mouth could kill you if it enters your bloodstream.
These are things that you do not want to know. You have been warned. Most people think ladybugs are cute, but after this fact, you are not going to think that anymore. Ladybugs lay a ton of eggs, and some of those eggs they use as a snack. So what I'm trying to say is basically ladybugs will sometimes eat their babies. It's very tiny, but the chances of your roller coaster breaking mid-ride is 1 in 750 million. But just know it has happened to other people before. The chances are never zero. You should probably know this, but spiders can actually survive in space. So if you don't like spiders now, there's more of a reason why not to like them. And for the last one, if you're not following me, this will be in your room tonight.
Let's talk about level 974 of the Backrooms. Let's call this level Mr. Kitty's house. This whole level has an adorable pastel pink aesthetic, just like this. Here's where the level gets weird. This guy right here. This tall, dark entity is named Mr. Kitty, and he is completely harmless. Mr. Kitty simply pops up around the house and watches you while you explore. He's extremely tall and has these long, lanky limbs. I just wouldn't want to stay in this level too long.
Have you heard about the real-life tragic demise of Humpty Dumpty? On March 9th, 1703, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. That's when disaster struck. Much to the shock of his family and friends, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not revive Humpty Dumpty as he had suffered an intracranial hematoma, leaving his brain fried and scrambled for life. So who pushed him? And what the hell was he doing on that wall? He's an egg. Was someone jealous of his prime spot for sunbathing and people watching? And why was pushing him over easy? Do you think Shrek has something to do with it? Or was it something else?
What happens if you wake up during surgery? In 2008, Donna Penner was booked in for an exploratory laparoscopy at her local hospital. It should have been a routine procedure, but for some reason, the general anesthetic failed. With her body still paralyzed by the anesthetic drugs, Donna was unable to signal that anything was wrong. Over the next 90 minutes, she was forced to feel horrific pain as the doctor made the incisions on her body and moved around her internal organs.
Oh, damn child, leave this house. Take a flower.
These are some of the creepiest real clowns throughout history. Number 1 is Bozo the Clown. It's commonly thought that Bozo is considered kind of the prototype of most 20th century clowns. Hugely popular with audiences throughout the 60s, but eventually walked this line where younger audiences couldn't decide, is he funny or is he disturbing? Number 2 is John Wayne Gacy. Gacy is infamously known for the horrific nature of his crimes, where he accumulated more than 20 victims. But the clown character he would do, I think, is the eerie component to this story and why people remember it, because behind all of this makeup and these costumes, he was doing unspeakable things. Number 3 is Wrinkles the Clown. If you don't know the story behind Wrinkles, he is an unknown man from Florida who you can call anytime, anywhere, and he will come, dressed as Wrinkles, and terrify whoever you want. The creepiest part about him is that he will go as far as to hide within a home to scare people.
Terrifying games you shouldn't play, part 13. Ashes to Ashes. If you play this game correctly, your greatest wish will come true, but if you're not careful, you'll lose something more valuable than your life. To To play this game correctly, you'll need a piece of paper, a match or candle, and a room without windows. Once you have acquired all of these things, write down ashes to ashes along with your greatest wish on the piece of paper and light it on fire. Next, spread the ashes of the paper around you in a circle while saying the words, "Dust to dust, I've summoned you." Within the next 24 hours, you'll be visited by an entity known as the Dust Bunny. He will offer to make your greatest wish come true in exchange for your soul. When you turn down his offer, he will say, "How about a game instead? If you've lost your nerve, this is the time to end things here." However, if you accept his proposal, he will disappear into thin air. The game has now begun. You will have 30 minutes to cover every window in the house. When the 30 minutes is up, you will hear a knock on the front door. Enter the room without windows and wait. The Dust Bunny will return at sunrise. If any sunlight is able to enter the house through the windows, you've lost the game and he will claim your soul. But if you have covered all of the windows thoroughly, the game has been won and your wish will come true. Comment whether or not you would play this game and follow for more.
These are cursed games you should never play, part 55. This one is called The Man in the Fields. First of all, you will need to have a backyard. If you win this game, you will be safe physically, financially, and in any other way for 1 year. You should begin after sunset. Light a lantern, go to your backyard and face your house. Now say, "But who will scare the crows away?" 7 times. If you hear a whisper, then the summoning was successful. Return to your house, close the door, and don't look back. Your mission is to close everything that is capable of opening, like drawers or doors, before midnight. If you see a man with your peripheral vision, don't look at him. And don't look into the backyard no matter what. Because there will be a scarecrow that will hunt you down if you look at it. When you're sure that you closed everything, go to sleep if you can. If you wake up the next morning, you won. But if you don't, then you're probably dead.
What is the real story behind the haunting of the Annabelle doll? I think most people know about the movie franchise that focused around this doll, but the real doll that this is based off of still exists. The story begins in 1970 when a student nurse is gifted this Raggedy Ann doll and things become very strange. The legend of the haunting reports that the girl and her roommate would come home and find the doll sitting in different positions. There were also several reports of people saying they saw this doll move on its own, but things became even more alarming when handwritten notes start to appear around the apartment, all saying, "Help me." The paranormal investigation team, the Warrens, as well as countless other mediums and other investigators all come in for this doll, and the story that kind of centralizes is that the doll is possessed by a girl with malicious intent who they coined as Annabelle. The doll is taken into the possession of the Warrens and to this day sits inside of their Connecticut museum locked inside of a glass box.
Terrifying games you don't want to play, part 22. The Hallwayman game. If you play this game correctly, all of your physical and mental ailments will be healed. But if you lose, your fate will be sealed. To play this game, you will need a piece of paper, a writing utensil, and a match or candle. You'll need to wait until night falls, and then just before you go to bed, you'll need to write the words "Hallwayman come" on the paper as many times as possible. Once you have done this, you'll need to burn the piece of paper and go to sleep as soon as possible. If you have done everything correctly, you will begin to dream that you are in a house that feels similar to your own, except that everything is a little bit out of place. Once you leave the bedroom, you will find yourself in a maze of hallways. Your job is to find the exit. If you can do this, you will gain your reward, but it won't be easy. The entire time that you are in this dream world, a creature known as the Hallwayman will be hunting you. If he catches you, bad things will happen. And every hour that you don't find the exit, it will grow smaller until eventually it will disappear, trapping you in the dream world forever. Comment whether or not you would play this game and follow for more.
This is the game you should never play. The game is called The Time Traveler, and it's a being from another dimension. To start the game, you will have to go outside of your house at 12 a.m. every night and say the words Time Traveler, come play a game. Once you do this for exactly 6 days in a row, you have to then go back inside your house and find the darkest room available. Once you find a room, you'll then need to light a candle and repeat the following phrase: Time Traveler, come play a game. A mysterious figure will then appear in front of you, and this is the Time Traveler. He will then offer you things that differ in value, and you could accept or decline what he offers. If you accept, he'll leave, but if you decline, he'll offer you something slightly more valuable or take you away to his dimension.
Here are the most bizarre things that have ever happened at Disney World. There was a time where a couple tried to smuggle a baby onto Space Mountain. A couple was in line to ride Space Mountain when their duffel bag started to make noise, and the couple refused to open it. So the cast member called security, and when they opened the bag, they saw a 6-month baby inside of it. The baby was okay, but my goodness. People try to spread their loved ones' ashes in the Haunted Mansion. This actually happens way too often, and cast members have to try and stop it as much as they can. It causes the ride to shut down temporarily for an emergency ash cleanup. A husband made a very bizarre announcement at Cinderella's castle. The family of 4 came in for dinner, and about halfway through, the husband politely stands up and he announced that his wife of 15 years had been cheating on him. Wow. In 2007, Tigger punched a teenager in the face. Apparently the boy was messing with Tigger's costume and Tigger wanted him to stop and he didn't, and then punched him in the face.
Paranormal games you should never play. Part 4. The Elevator Game. This game was popularized and gained a lot of credibility from the death of Elisa Lam. When these videos came out, they showed a woman acting extremely strange, and she later showed up dead after these events. But many believe she was playing this game in order to get to the other world. To play this game, you'll first need a building with 10 floors on it. Make sure you're alone and that no one else gets on this elevator with you. Firstly, go to the 4th floor. Once the door opens, don't get out. From that point on, you'll go to the 2nd floor, the 6th floor, the 2nd floor, and then the 10th floor. But at all these stops, never get out. Finally, you'll go to the 5th floor. From there, a woman can enter the elevator with you, but don't look at her, don't talk to her. Just be antisocial. From there, you'll press the 1st floor button. 2 things could happen here. 1, you'll actually go to the 1st floor, in which case you just have to get off, don't look back. And the second option is that it goes to the 10th floor. If this happens, you're presented with 2 options. 1, you either stay on, or 2, you get off to enter the other world. But as you're getting off, just know that this woman will be calling out your name and asking you questions, but you cannot look back. You'll know you've successfully entered the other world if you're completely alone. So I hope the other world's cool, because I'm definitely not doing this.